Okay. I was listening to an interview, or this guy was just talking on the radio, Christian radio thing or something like that. He was talking about the choice that Republicans have to make between Trump and Cruz. He was comparing the two. And this guy, I think he was really hard on Trump, but I don't think he favored Cruz either. But that's besides the point. He said they both are campaigning on deporting all the illegal aliens, which I think is like 11 million people they're claiming or something like that, 14 million something. And what I'm making this video about, you cannot deport millions of people. As much as many of us would like to see that happen or think it's a great idea, let's assume we got someone elected and that was his thing. He says, okay, we're going to have to round all these people up and deport them. First of all, the culture shock of something like that in itself, I think would create some sort of revolution because people would just be freaked out that their neighbors are getting hauled off and this kind of thing. Okay, I am sympathetic to these people, but I'm not sympathetic to. It's illegal what they're doing, but I'm going to preface that with something else. But you cannot deport all these people. I don't think it's physically possible. I don't think it's even if we had someone that said, okay, and everyone got behind you, I was around these people, I'm sending it back. That just ain't going to happen. And even if it did, an attempt to do something like that would just be so civil unrest that you couldn't imagine. The other aspect of that, and this is the one that really gets my attention. Let's say all those people here that are here illegally, and they have families. They're not celibate. I mean, they're not. These people are popping out babies and all that. You got to take all those people into account. But at the very minimum, okay, many of them are working. They're part of the workforce. If you were to take that much of the workforce out of play, okay, a void like that, in any sort of rapid succession, would be devastating to the economy. Another aspect, too, is if you look at this, I did a video on this before, the economy of it. These illegal aliens that are here, these people that are here illegally, yes, some are on welfare or some get stuff given to them or whatever the case is, but they spend. These people are huge spenders. This is a huge part of our economy. Okay? Now, some will say, well, yeah, but, wrong is wrong. Let's get them out and fix this thing. It's too late for that. Okay? The deportation thing does not work. Doesn't have any it makes no sense unless you actually have an actual border. Okay? So really, the thing that got me on Trump at the beginning is when he said it. I said he could do an entire campaign just on, hey, we're going to lock up the border. Without a border, you can send people here to there to Mars, wherever the case is. They just come back. See, that's what we have now. We just, this kind of thing. So the deporting thing makes no sense without a border. You should have a legitimate border. But I see a lot of people think that's the fix-all. We just deport these people and everything will be okay. You want to go back to the 70s. I remember the 70s as a little kid. I'm out here in Central California. And you go back to Reagan being governor and making all kinds of deals with Rosario program and all this kind of thing. Well, those people are just going to be here for 6 months. Put it this way. Ag and politics, or politics and agriculture, that's the problem that we have now. What they did then is the problem that we have now. Okay? And I have a lot of friends in ag and this kind of thing. This will piss people off, whatever the case is. But it's you can go back into history. Many, many empires have been crushed by the curse of cheap labor. Okay? We allowed these people to cross the border, however, okay? And we looked the other way, called it a different thing or whatever, so they can come and pick lettuce. And I'm not picking on the lettuce people. It's just it was the most common one here. They come to pick lettuce. All right? Well, let's say they're here for 4 to 6 months. Well, lettuce has been picked. You people need to get back across that border. That was the plan. And if you don't, we'll haul you back. But remember, next year, early spring, we'll see you again. That's not a border. That's not an immigration program. That's foolish. Okay? But it was no big deal back then. There wasn't as many. It was pretty much California, New Mexico, a little bit of Nevada, and a lot of Arizona. Okay? Close to town, Texas, southern parts of Texas, El Paso and all that. You know, they could come in and assume they're just going to leave. No one considered the fact that some of these were women, some were going to have babies here, some were going to stay behind, build families. Basically, back then, they only got hauled off if they got into trouble. DUIs, maybe theft, fights, drunkenness, whatever the case, they get hauled back. Or if the farmer using them had a problem with the local establishment, they'd haul his people back. That used to happen too. But here it is. You have this. We wanted to maintain an agricultural economy back then by allowing these things to happen. That was the beginning of the end for us. This is the stuff we have now, which I don't think can be fixed other than the border. I hate to say it, we blame ag and some governors and some politicians because it was, well, we need that cheap labor. Now, a friend that I had an argument here with a couple of days ago, and this I've heard my entire life. White people won't do that work. You can't get white folks out there to go out and pick that lettuce. Well, why? Did they pay them that? Were they in the 70s? They paid them very little. Okay, but were they paying them so little that white people wouldn't do it? And there's a stigma. Who wants to be? I've harvested tree fruit before. It's no party. But white people aren't going to do that kind of work. So we had to let these people come in and pay them on the cheap. Okay, why? And he said, well, to keep so they could make profit so they could sell the lettuce profitably. Otherwise, instead of $2 or $3 a head of lettuce, it might be $10 or $12. I said, okay. So back then, because we couldn't pay white people enough to pick the lettuce, so it was cheap enough in the supermarket, is why we're getting our butts kicked today, why we're in such a mess with this thing today. I know I'm all over the board here. So I said, would you like to pay, if you could go to the grocery store today and pay $10 for a head of lettuce and have no more of these immigration problems that we have or illegals problems we have, would you be willing to pay that? Yeah, but I can't, I never got the point across to him. But I said, here's the thing. We relaxed the rules as far as people coming across the border to protect a little industry, well, it's a decent-sized industry, that said they could not compete in the marketplace without that relaxation of the rules. Okay? Now, the other alternative is they would have to pay more to get white people to do it or come up with some automated way. That, it's some ingenuity there. But pay more people to get the white folks to pick the lettuce. All right? And we have to pay more for lettuce at the grocery store. And I don't think that's a terrible thing. Now, here's the other side of that. What if people don't want to pay $10 for lettuce? Well, guess what? Don't grow lettuce anymore. You're out of business. We wouldn't be in the mess we're in today if it weren't for the curse of cheap labor. You go back and look. I've seen videos on this, and it's the curse of cheap labor. You want these people. You don't want these people as citizens. You don't want to have any power or anything. But boy, you do like the fact that they work for a couple bucks an hour. And then go back to their side of town, and eventually we'll just keep them over there, keep them at bay. And that's bitten more empires in the ass every time. The cheap labor. See? So when people think, first thing we need to do, we've got to deport everybody. No, you'll sink our ship so fast, make your head spin. You can't deport that many people. Okay, that's ridiculous. And the families, they're just nuts. And so what if they're not? And the same thing, if I was one of them, would I have crossed the border? Hell yeah. I've worked with these people. Okay, I know what it's like down there. Spend all this money, come back 3, 4, 5, 6 times, get tossed back, come back. It must not be a party to get you to do that, to come back every time. Okay, I'd have done it, especially when you have all these incentives up here. If I get hurt, I go to the emergency room because there's a law that says they can't turn me away. See, we have all these little things here that makes it so easy to screw this thing up. I'm pushing the wrong buttons here. Well, what if illegals were dying in emergency rooms because no one would see them? Well, That would be a terrible thing. But maybe word would get back home that, hey, there ain't no free health up there, health care. See? What if they were dropping babies here and those babies didn't become a citizen instantly? Well, maybe they'll drop their babies up here. See? There's no fear of immigration or that stuff anymore. But we broke this thing with Reagan in California back in the 70s, in my opinion. It's just, well, we have to protect that market. Which that labor force, white people won't do it. Well, yeah, and they must have paid these people next to nothing when I was a kid, But it's just we're licking our wounds and dealing with the symptoms today for cheap labor back in the 70s and 80s. And it's just, and this is we deserve it. This is what we did. This is what happens when you break the rules. You break the rules to help an industry. Ag is very powerful. They can get things done and all that and yada yada yada. But I mean, I kind of picked this up. I won't go into that, but it makes no sense. We brought this on ourselves. We've never had a border. We had a program of cheap labor, and some of it didn't go home, and some of it took up roots and had kids here who now, under the rules, are citizens. Hey, God bless them. But guess what? Now you can't. Everything's messed up. But you know what? You can go to the store and buy a $2, $3, $4 head of lettuce. It's not 10. So don't complain. My opinion. Tell me what you think. I made this video to say if you deport all these people, it would crush our economy. That's the question I'm asking. I got off on a rant there, but anyhow. The hell with the republic for cheap lettuce. Amen. God bless you.